Welcome to Pagan Crafting. Today's a spell jar to strengthen communication with the dead. While I was planning this spell jar, this ancestor jar, I came across many different ways to give offerings for the dead. I came across wormwood, and wormwood is to strengthen the communication with the dead, and it inspired this spell itself. So if you wish to learn how to do this, stay tuned and stick with me, and let's have some fun with Pagan Crafting. Today is Samhain, which means the summer's end, the witch's new year to the Irish Celts, and Halloween to some. I thought of things I could do to honor my ancestors as I pulled out this old family album, and I started to go through it, and I thought of how I wanted to celebrate and honor my ancestors this year. But I wanted to do something different than the previous years. You can decorate your home, you can carve pumpkins to scare away evil spirits. You can visit old graveyards, honor them by cleansing up, decorating, and leaving flowers, coins, herbs, or apples and gravestones. You can go through old photo albums, old family recipes, and then I came across this picture of my grandmother. She was a feisty Irish woman who had many traditions and superstitions, so I decided to head to the cemetery to honor her, my family, and some of those who passed on and the ones I'd never met. As I walked alone in this peaceful place, I read many of the dedications, enjoyed the artwork and the serenity of the place. It was wonderful to see little offerings that people have left loved ones in forms of many things, from toys to flowers and so much more. I decided to capture the artwork in time by creating some grave rubbings. I brought my artist chalk pastels along with me and some drawing paper. Normally I use graphite sticks and mulberry paper, but I have somewhat recently moved and I couldn't find neither, so these were my substitute. I decided on colors of the autumn for my palette, and though I wish the paper was a little thinner, I was pleased with my results. I chose to do some rubbings of different types of stars, feathers, trees, and mountains, and some flowers and wheat. I'm saving those rubbings for another video and a project to honor the ancestors. Honoring my grandmother's Celtic Irish roots, I left offerings of apples for the deceased in spirit realm. Saying my goodbyes, I thanked the spirits at the cemetery, and I was on my way back home, charged up and ready to do some pagan crafting. Back home to my old garden that I have in my living room, I gathered herbs I needed for my spell. I was inspired. I finally decided on the herbs, the crystals, and the flowers I would use in these offerings. I looked for English thyme, and I used my rosemary as well. So the ingredients we're going to use today is wormwood, that inspired this whole spell, black salt, frankincense, lavender, marigold, daisies, rosemary, thyme, an apple, You will need a piece of amethyst, a glass jar, never plastic, some anointing oil if you would like to do some candle magic on the side. It's nice to set the mood. So I'm going to use an orange candle just to go with the flow of everything, because orange and black is Samhain colors. Now, one ingredient I failed to mention was the dandelion root. Originally, I was going to be putting this into the spell jar, but then I read that actually if you drink it as a tea, it's for connecting with certain spirits. So while doing this spell, I choose to drink the dandelion tea. I don't have floaties in my tea. I added cinnamon and honey because it tasted amazing. And that's a good little empowerment also. The honey to sweeten the spell, the cinnamon to speed up, to empower the spell. And now I'm writing here on the candle to strengthen the communication with the dead. This is not a necessary step. I always just like to set the mood with a candle. And I like to color coordinate my candle with everything else that I'm using here. Now I'm anointing it with the hunter's moon, the full moon. It was collected October 9th, 2022. Now, since I want this to come towards me, an attraction, I'm going to anoint the candle, rolling it towards me, not away from me. I don't want it to detract. I want this to come towards me. I want to talk to spirits. I want to increase my mediumship skills. I want to have hopefully some communication with some ancestors or the dead this evening. I'm excited. Thinking of intention, setting forth the cleansing, I use Reiki. I cleanse my space, I cleanse my candle. I did smudge before I started this video. I didn't include that because I don't think I need to include it every time, but it's good to always cleanse your space before starting any ritual. Now I have to show you, this is really cute. Each teak bag has a different message. It says the creation of 1,000 forests is from one acorn. I love that. A cute little message. And I got acorns everywhere, and it's the time of the season. So cool. Today I'm going to use these spell jar worksheets for spells and rituals. You can download these from my Pagan Crafting Etsy store. You'll see in the link in the description down below. Also, you'll have a direct link right to these spell sheets and my store. Stick to the end of this video and you're going to get a coupon code for a little percentage off in appreciation for you for chilling out with me today. Now the intention is, again, we want to strengthen the communication with the dead, with our ancestors. The veil is going to be so thin on the 31st. I would like to take advantage of it. Now we have Monday. The moon cycle is the waxing crescent in the month of October. The color of the candle I'm using is orange. The carrier order is almond oil. The hunter's moon. The wax stamp seal is my object, with orange wax as well. I'm using wormwood, black salt, frankincense, marigolds, daisies, lavender, amethyst crystal, rosemary, thyme, and apple seeds. Our next space is for the runes. So I'm going to go to my Sigil worksheets that I've designed. You can also find these on my Pagan Crafting store. Now, going through these ones, I think because I have a 6-word sentence and 2 of the words are quite long, I'm going to go with the witch's wheel. This one I can produce a larger sigil if I have to, if I have more consonants that I need to rock. So the intention is Strengthen communication with the dead. So you want to cross out all the vowels first, and then the double consonants. And what is left is the consonants that will invoke the energy that you need to rock and charge into this sigil. I think this is one of my larger sigils that I have designed. I've never used this many letters before, so we'll hopefully that this is not going to be sloppy. We'll see how it looks. I'm going to bring in a lot of curves and a lot of loops just to give it some style so it won't be so blocky. I could have gone under the N, but I decided to go over the N. You start off with a circle and you end with a straight line, so you know it's kind of which way is up for right, and it's an old, ancient, angelic lettering style as well. Using orange, of course. Got to use an orange felt marker. Always got to match everything. Now this looks like a darn tootin' fancy Y. I don't know why, but it does. So I'm going to use a full Thark rune Tur. This is a symbol for warrior, but in my eyes it's also a symbol for protection. I am a soldier when I'm in the spirit realm, so I would like a little extra protection, some warrior protection. Now I'm going to write down the ritual here. I am not going to be creating a circle of space with this one. I'm empowering up the jar with my space, with my intention. So I'm writing down what I would like to have, what I would like to invoke, more mediumship abilities. Now I always like to smudge the area before I start, but I like to give a little extra love for this jar. So we are going to smudge this jar. If you've noticed in any previous of my videos, I've always used a different item to smudge with. A sage before, cinnamon stick, as well as now I'm going to use an incense stick, and I've used Palo Santo. I'm going to let the incense smoke purify the jar for a moment. I'm using Neg Champa here. I usually use dragon's blood. In this one, I'm just using my favorite incense. I absolutely love it. So I'm offering to the dead one of my favorite incenses. So it's one of my most prized. Using black salt here, it's ruled by the moon and the water. It's to absorb negative energies, to purify. It's a magical protective tool to keep you and your environment safe for special ritual and for spirit work. Using this as a base, as a protection base to start the spell itself. The next ingredient is wormwood. It was a little bit harder for me to come by, so I'm only going to be using a little bit for the spell. Wormwood is ruled by Mars and fire. It's to strengthen communication with the dead. It's for cleansing, psychic powers, protection, and for calling spirits. Our next ingredient is frankincense, ruled by the sun. I chose it to honor the dead. It's one of Anubis's favorite offerings, and he is the god of embalming and the spirit underworld. So I thought the frankincense to honor the dead is so fitting. Our next is marigolds, orange marigolds, ruled by the sun and the element fire. It's perfect for ancestor worship and spirit work. It represents remembering the dead, Bringing marigolds to a gravesite is incredibly common as it done in many cultures around the world today. I was going to put in daisies next, but I decided for a little bit of more contrast with color. So I'm going with lavender next, ruled by Mercury and air. It's for peace and for those who have passed on. I kind of measure with my heart. I don't have a lot of measurements to go by. I just go by my heart. Sometimes when you measure with your heart gets a little full of so much love, it tends to spill over. I tend to overdid that lavender a little bit. But it looks cool nonetheless. Putting on our next one here, we got daisies dyed orange, ruled by Venus. I had a really cool bouquet of all types of daisies of all different colors. It was dyed, so I saved them for all my candles, but I thought the orange would be perfect for today because orange is for positive energy and strong emotions. It's for lost family members and spirit work. Our next up is rosemary, ruled by the planet Mercury. Rosemary in many cultures is to use to honor our ancestors, and it also is good for protection. Throw a little bit in your pocket and it'll be good for you on All Hallows Eve. Our next one here is thyme, also ruled by Mercury. It's to communicate with the dead and fairies, also used for protection, cleansing, and concentration. Now the best ingredient out of all this is the next ingredient. Very easy to come by, this one. I would like to put in some apple. Now I don't have any dried apple, and I don't suggest putting moist apple into your spell jar because it will start to disintegrate and then it'll start to rot your ingredients. We don't want that to happen. Cutting your apple in half to reach the star inside. My favorite part of cutting an apple. Oh, 5 perfect little seeds, and I didn't cut into any one of them. Look at that perfect star. I'm gonna save them for stamping. Just like stamping potatoes. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so much fun. Now apples are the food of the dead. Apples were food offerings for the spirits. You never wanted to eat the last apple on the tree, for that was bad luck, for that last apple was the offering for the fairies or the spirit realm. So hence why today I left offerings of apple on different gravestones. Now my last ingredient is amethyst, ruled by Jupiter. It can transmute negative energy into love. It's one of the most powerful magical properties of amethyst is its ability to protect its user. So hence why I use this crystal for this spell for you tonight. Now what I would like to do is transfer my sigils onto my spell jar. My good old-fashioned Sharpie. I like to put 1 hidden sigil, so I'm going to use this full Thark rune Tur. Find the perfect spot. Oh, look at that lavender, it's gorgeous, and the color oranges, so beautiful. Rocking in to strengthen communication with the dead. With every stroke of the felt pen, reinitiate the thought, the intention. Now, I'm quite pleased with the outcome. This feels good. The offerings for the dead, the day that I spent, the inspiration at the site. Now to seal the jar. I'm using orange and pearl orange wax stamp seals. Now I didn't know there was some black left over because I thought it was soot, so I didn't clean it out. So some of it mixed in with the orange. I didn't stop it and grab some more. I thought that was fitting because black and orange are the colors for this Sabbath. So I like to do a double pour because the jars is a quite a bit larger one. So this one I'm going to go with some straight tangerine orange. Ooh, my wax stamp seal is one of Odin's ravens. Wait till you see. Are you ready? Oh my gosh. Perfect center stamp seal. I love the pearlescent and how it turned out. Now I'm going to add one more protection charm onto the bottle for protection as I journey into the spirit world as the veil opens up tonight. I shall carry this jar with me and keep it close by, melting the ends of the ribbon to seal it off so it won't fray or run. And there you have it. Blessed be. So this year I would like you to try out something different. Honor the dead in a different way. Go through an old photo album. Go visit a graveyard. Clean off a site. Maybe a site that looks old and ragged that no one's visited in a long time. Maybe people have passed and forgotten them. Clean that random grave site. Leave some apples, leave some offering, leave some coins or flowers. Honor the dead in a different way this season. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I wish you a safe Samhain and a happy Witches' New Year.